And I was looking at our candidate. You know, pro media, as you've seen in the other pageants, we don't choose. I mean, we don't have candidates that are not, up there in terms of the complete package. As we say, they're holistically fit and they're holistically beautiful in all dimensions. So our candidate here, Gwen Furniol, she's pro media standards, if you can call it that. And when I was looking at her as our candidate, I was like, this is pure beauty. But maybe our pageant friends, they don't know her yet. And I was actually reading one of the articles of one of the members of media here, and it's interesting, made me think. She was saying something like, sometimes there's too much hype. There's too much hype over, all the festivities, lots of photos, lots of articles, and there's so much hype over a certain candidate or certain candidates na nakakalimutan na natin the essence of it, the purity of it. That okay, she's this camp, she's from this bloodline, this person is marami na nasalihan, but you peel away all of that, all the filters and everything surrounding that festivity. In its purest form, you have to ask yourself, are these candidates, are they beautiful? Pure beauty, right? I think sometimes sometimes a lot of it is sizzle and less steak, diba? It's all hot hype. Strip away everything. Strip away camps, in the politics, in any industry, and all the publicity of a certain candidate. Tanggalin natin lahat yun. At the core of it, when you look at this person, this candidate, is she beautiful? Right? Because your passion and your love for beauty, Filipina beauty queens, pageantry, you fell in love with it because it is beauty in its purest form. Without all the makeup, without all the glam and the hairspray and what they're wearing. Are these candidates beautiful? Purely beautiful. And when I was looking at our candidate, Gwen, that's pure beauty there. And I want to be able to communicate that to our press friends. Diba? We have to see that. Again, I was reading that interesting article, and parang the idea was, is there like a collective, delusion or idea that certain candidates, because of all the hype, they're beautiful, but then you strip away everything, and they may not be as beautiful. And prior to this press dinner, I was like, how do we communicate that? How do we show everybody that our candidate has the most beautiful face, is the most beautiful? If you remove, who you're with, who's training you, who your relatives are, right? What your bloodline is, na makita mo talaga in its essence that she's a beautiful lady. And so we were in Boracay for the beach body competition, and by some stroke divine intervention, all the candidates who were competing there, naulanan, nabuhusan, tanggal lahat ng makeup, tanggal lahat ng hairspray, diba? And I'm like, now, makikita, we can see who has the most beautiful face, who is, again, you remove everything, all the cover-ups, all the clothing, they were in swimsuits and diba? Basang-basa, kapit na kapit yung clothing nila so you can see form. Hairspray is gone, the extensions were bagsak, and you can see there. And then you see the top 10, who they are, right? The judges saw the ladies, the queens, stripped of all filters and cover-ups and makeups and concealers and things like that. And so, that's a sign, I think, that's divine intervention. Talking about Gwen Furniol, I'd like to, of course I'm biased, right? But doesn't she have the most beautiful face in the pageant? Kung face lang, diba? You can look at that face for a long time. and it looks beautiful. You don't have, hindi kailangan hanapan ng angulo eh. You can look at that face. And I don't think I can say that about anyone, again, I'm biased, any candidate in the pageant. Right? And beauty is about face. We start with face, then everything else, right? You don't go to a beauty pageant and then you focus on the body first and then crop the face, then we look at the body. The primary criteria that we look at is the face. Then everything else follows and what do you do with that base? What do you do with the foundation that you start with? Then you fix the hair and then certain makeup na bagay. But, you know, beauty needs to be objective and again pure. Can't be that you're beautiful at a certain angle or you're beautiful with a certain kind of makeup, right? Or you're beautiful in a certain way na, you know, kailangan walang qualifier. You're beautiful because you're beautiful, period. Without the makeup, without drenched in the rain, you're beautiful, right? And your face is the starting point of what beauty is. Everything else has to follow. So, I don't know, I'm sorry for rambling on. We're very passionate about the purity that is beauty. Diba? And so I think to conclude, I'd like to call, is she here na? I'd like to call Gwendolyne Furniol, also known as, anong tawag sa kanya? Yung kamukha niya? Yung kamukha siya eh. Rian Ramos and Pure Beauty, Gwen Furniol.
Maayong hapon sa inyong tanan. My name is Gwendolyne Furniol, your Miss World Philippines 2022, candidate number 25, representing Negros Occidental. I am extremely overwhelmed that you could all attend this press presentation, which was made possible thanks to Pro Media and of course Sir Paul Reyes. I'm so glad to be here today and to really showcase to you my journey on Miss World.
Hi Gwen, congratulations for making it to the top 10 of Beauty Pageant.
Thank you so much.
Here's my question. Now that Miss World Philippines 2022 is halfway through, aside for winning one of the titles at stake, what do you look forward to getting at the end of the competition?
Of course, since it's my second time around with Miss World, I've learned so much more from the first Miss World competition that I've joined. And I'm really excited to make really special memories and to really embrace my journey by working closer with my advocacy, which is Earned a Foundation. So I'm really, truly excited and determined to put out there what we've been doing with my foundation, which is really allowing children to have more access to education through different programs.
Okay, just follow up. What is your biggest realization being a second timer in the Miss World?
I think for being someone who joins a second time in the same pageant, it's a lot of pressure. But it's also a lot of lessons learned because you know what to do the second time, you come back stronger and more determined. And of course with Pro Media behind me, I feel so much stronger in this journey with Miss World.
Your mother was very poor. They found her as a child. Erika found her as a child and rescued her. And then your mother grew up with Erika here in the Philippines. And then eventually grew up and then she was sent to work in France.
She was able to have education thanks to Father Trids, and she had the confidence to do that. Without Erda, I don't think I would be here today. So I owe my life to Erda Foundation and to Father Pierre Trids.
No, but then she went abroad and that's where she...
Yeah, and then she met my father there as well.
So it's bookend, it's full circle with her mother being rescued by Erda and now her supporting her. And her mother going abroad to meet her father so that she was born and to support her.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
Everything happens for a reason. And my second to the last question is, you joined Miss World Philippines last year, and you joined this year. Who is Gwen last year, and who is Gwen today that you are competing second time around in Miss World Philippines?
Well, last year I don't think I could recognize myself today because I think I'm a better version of myself. And going through all these challenges, I'm so much stronger, I'm so much more confident, and I have the power to really put my vision out there and my voice out there because I want a world full of unity. Because because I believe as a community we can come together and achieve all those things.
Thank you. Basta Ilongga.
Guapa!
Thank you, Gwen.
Thank you.
Next question.
Thank you, Sir Paul, for the invitation. I've been asking this question to a lot of the Miss World Philippines candidates, so I would ask the same question to you. As we all know, when girls like you join Miss World Philippines, it's all about beauty with a purpose and what you can contribute to your community. And knowing that, Sir Paul has just extolled you to the highest heavens because of your facial beauty, let's talk about it. How do you think your beauty can drive a lot of people according to purpose? How can you drive beauty according to purpose?
I think people fail to look behind the face. They fail to look within the heart. And I want people to know that I'm not just a pretty face. I'm a person with a good heart. And since I was young, I've been trying to do good things in society. Because beauty is not just about being beautiful or having lavish clothes. It's about using your power and responsibility to do what's right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Hi and good afternoon.
Oh, hi po.
Gwen, what do you consider your best core value? And follow up to that, what do you think is the advantage of a woman who knows her core values?
I think core values is different with everyone, but for me, it's always to stand up and be proud of who you are because I've come a long way. Moving here to the Philippines alone when I was 18, I had to be independent. I didn't have a family here, so I had to learn to fend for myself and to really push through all these problems that I've gone through by myself at 18 years old, and now I'm 21 years old, and I'm proud to say I'm still here, thriving, and with Pro Media really supporting, which I'm very, very grateful for.
There's so many grounds at stake
Yes.
in Miss World Philippines organization. So which among these grounds do you target and why?
Of course, I'm aiming for the Miss World crowns because I want to reach to humanity out there in the whole world and fulfill my vision of making this world a beautiful place for all the marginalized Filipino children.
Thank you. And with that,
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Mike po dito. Gwen, ask ko lang, since naman Sir Paul and Ma'am Jam are very proud of you talaga. Pero since the beginning, no, press conference pa lang, lagi sinasabi sa akin, Sir Paul, Mike, this is our best candidate for Miss World. And napaka-aggressive niya this time. And I think, this time around, may chance talaga siya makakuha ng crown. Dahil sa nakita ko how determined Ma'am Jam and Sir Paul sa iyong journey dito sa Miss World, meron bang mensahe sa kanilang dalawa? As siyempre, they are very, talaga, every now and then we ask them talaga, we promote you. Ikaw naman, bibigyan naman kita ng chance. What is your message to them?
I really want to thank Miss Jam and Sir Paul because they've been like a second parent to me in the Philippines and they've never failed to believe in me. And because of them, I've had so much more confidence, so much willpower to really, really go on that stage and get the crown.
Wow. Anyway, my second question is, you've had the opportunity to teach the children. Ano yung pwede mong ibahagi sa kanila na sa palagay mo nadadali nila habang buhay?
Actually, I've been a teacher since I was 16. I've been tutoring children French and English, so I really learned a lot. But for me, it's a lack of confidence in the children, especially those who come from marginalized families. They have no confidence in their future. And I want them to see that every single children, no matter the background, have the same opportunity as everyone. Because education is a human right and not a privilege. Thank you so much.
Hi Gwen, bonjour.
Bonjour. Bonjour François.
Bien, ça va.
Nobody gonna help him out there.
Alright, so Gwen, nowadays beauty queens are given platforms to speak about your minds, or to speak your minds rather about social issues. With that given opportunity, what are your limitations to speak about, if there's any, and why?
I I think there's no really limitations to what I can speak about because I advocate for freedom of speech, that everyone can really have the power to speak freely in a world where there's no judgment and there's peace. And I want to create that kind of atmosphere and environment for everyone, especially the children, where they can grow up without having to fear of what they're going to say, without having to be judged. Thank you.
So what kind of beauty queen are you? Someone who speaks her mind or someone who plays safe?
I'm very open-minded, coming from European backgrounds. I've always been open-minded, and even my mother, even though she's Filipina, she's always taught me to stand up for myself and to always say what's right. And I think, of course, you have to have a filter when you speak, but if I see that something is wrong, I always stand up for what's right.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup, merci.
Hi, Gwen.
Hello.
This is Celestial Cappuccino, Sashes&Scripts, and I just wanted to ask something, light and fun. What do you do? What do you do for fun? And outside the realm of beauty pageants, who are you as a person?
That's a good question. Thank you so much for that question. So I like to go out of my comfort zone and do things that really challenge me and make me scared in a way. So in Boracay, we did scuba diving, and although I didn't want to push through, I still went with it because I didn't want to regret doing something that I was scared of. And being on stage, everyone gets stage fright, and I want to be in that position where I don't really mind how people see me as long as I'm being myself and I'm being authentic.
Follow-up question. What do you think is your advantage this time around that you're competing, the second time around?
There's a reason why I chose Miss World again, because I really believe in its platform and its vision, and I want to use my advocacy to really empower those out there and make sure that every children has access to education. So Miss World for me is the crown I'm really aiming for, and that's why I joined a second time around. Thank you. Bonjour, Tita Lavinia, how are you?
Thank you. Alright, so when I covered the first presentation last week, I bumped into Sir Paul, and he mentioned that meron na akong kandidata na kasama ko. Now, usually, whenever I get included in GCs, and when we post photos, hindi ko agad-agad pinopost yan kasi gusto ko, makita ko yung merits mismo ng kandidata. And you are now live on Titas of Pageant, and I'm looking at the comments. A lot of them are pretty impressed with how you're able to compose yourself. You're very young. This is your second time. Medyo may gap from the first time you joined until now. But when you were deciding to join again, ano yung gusto mo baguhin? Ano yung gusto mo, sabi ni Sir Paul, you're more aggressive now. Can you expound more on this? Ano yung parang gustong-gusto mong ipakita sa lahat yun?
Last year, I believe I didn't give my all in the pageant. So this year, I'm really being aggressive, like Sir Paul said. I'm willing to give it my all and pour my heart into it because I know the strength from the children and working closely to earn a foundation that's given me the power to really make them proud and ensure that their future, they will have access to education. Thank you.
I'm just a little curious because a lot of the pageant fans, whenever I would read the comments, they feel that this batch isn't the strongest. And maybe because there are only a few ladies na talagang medyo nakatakang side. You're not the tallest in the competition, but in the middle of this competition, medyo umaalifa ka. And now that we're hearing you, mukhang mas strengthen yung support behind you. Anong aim na? Like, how will you compete against the taller girls who are more known in the industry?
I think height doesn't really matter when it comes to pageantry because you're not there to showcase your height on stage. People will not see you for your height. They will see you for what you're about, for your purpose, for your vision, and for your message. And I think my vision is so strong, especially since I've been working with that advocacy since I was a child. It's not just something that I joined from Miss World, an advocacy that I worked with just for Miss World. It's something that I really believed in and that's embedded in my heart. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Gwen, my question for you is, this is close to your heart as well, because June is actually also the celebration of Father's Day, June 9th. If there's one thing that you want to share with us about your dad, who is he in your eyes that we in the media don't know?
I think I don't talk about my dad that much. He's a very busy person, but he's the person I really, really look up to because he's so smart and he always taught me really great life lessons in life. Right now he's in Belgium working away from my family, so I haven't had the time to see him as much, but he always keeps me updated. And I think the strength and intelligence all comes from my father because he's the most intelligent person I know.
Okay, my last question is because you've actually competed in the midst of a pandemic and we are still in, hopefully we are all doing better now compared to last year. What is the one thing that you've learned competing, with all the challenges in this part?
It's meeting all these different girls from ladies and different backgrounds. I think all girls have different advocacies, they have different experiences, but we all stand out in our own way, and that's what took me a long time to learn from last year's pageant, because you really have to stand out among, we're 36 candidates, so you really have to stand out this year. And all these challenges, they're all part of the journey in Miss World, and that's what makes it so memorable. Thank you.
Hello, Miss Gwen.
Hello.
I'm Edmond Juan from Manila.
Nice to meet you.
First time. I just want to ask, what was your experience in shooting your intro video?
Yes, as you can see, it's been overplayed so many times. So I did this in Bacolod actually, which I'm representing Negros Occidental. And I really wanted to embed in my video that it's not just about my story, it's also what I've been working on with my advocacy. So as you can see, I have pictures of Father Trits and the children. And I really wanted to wear Filipiniana because some people think just because I grew up in France, I'm not, a real Filipina, but at heart I'm really a Filipina, and my mom really taught me so many lessons. And I wanted to be really as creative as I could be. So I'm really grateful for my team as well in Bacolod for making this happen. Yes po, marunong ako mag-Tagalog. I was self-taught actually.
And I just want to ask, if I visit Negros Occidental, what place would you recommend?
As in the video actually, and we went to see Palay, which I really loved. It's such a beautiful place. Even though it's quite far away, it's really worth the drive to go there because they have such great seafood as well. Thank you so much.
Hi, Gwen. I have a budget question. Number one, times are changing, so what should be the most important quality of Miss World that is really queen?
The most important quality
Yes.
of the Miss World is to be authentic, of course, because this year our theme is exceptionally empowered Filipina. And what makes you an exceptionally empowered Filipina? There's so many ways. For me, it's uniting with each other and bringing that beauty within each other in a good way, in a positive way, and not spread negativity, especially in such hard times like these during the pandemic.
Second question, who is the most inspiring woman you've met so far, or you've known so far?
Of course, my mother. I grew up with her, being my strength. She lived abroad, even though her family was in the Philippines, and she raised me and my two brothers as we are today. And I think it's all thanks to her that I am this version of myself. She really brought me up in a good way.
And I understand you're a singer. What's your favorite song in life?
Like last year in the talent portion, I sang La Vie en Rose in French, and I really like to sing that song. It really reminds me of France.
You'll sing a few lines of that again.
Yes, of course. Should I stand up or?
We'll give you the version.
Okay, I'll sing a bit of it because there's no backup music. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me porte bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il and positivity.
Bonjour, mademoiselle.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Je suis Arminatina de Filipon de Lingüera.
Nice to meet you.
Marami akong bakon. Kumusta ba?
Je vais bien, et vous?
Oh, vraiment. Okay, merci. At what age did you decide that you will move to the Philippines when you turn 18?
I was decided already, my heart was set when I was 16 that I wanted to join, actually I wanted to do modeling in the Philippines. I really wanted to explore that other side of me because ever since I was a young girl, I went to the Philippines every year during the summer to visit family, and I really wanted to live here. And I told my mother, Mom, when I turn 18, would you let me go, live in the Philippines by myself? Of course, at first she said no, but then when the day came, I think she let me, be independent. She wanted me to learn that by myself, to be really independent.
And is living in the Philippines how you imagine it would be like?
Even better than I imagined, yes.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Bon chance.
Merci beaucoup.
Hi, Gwen.
Hello.
May is Mental Awareness Month. Has depression, anxiety, and so on struck you at one point in your life? And how did you cope with it?
Yes, last year I was at a very low part in my life because without my family with me, I felt very alone. But I always called them to make sure that, to remind myself that I'm not alone in this world. So I get anxious sometimes, but I really have to overcome that because if I just keep at one stage in my life, how can I move on to the next one? And that's what I always tell myself. Thank you so much.
Next question. Last one. What song best describes you?
It's a good question, I think. I think La Vie en Rose as well because I always think positive and that's basically my theme song. It really reminds me of France, my family there, and my father. And it's all about living in roses, living a life where you don't care about the negativity around you.
Last na talaga. What is your favorite Tagalog song? Sample ulit.
Juan by Juan Carlos. I love that song.
Few lines.
I'm not very good at the Tagalog lyrics, but I'm not sure. Sa ilalim ng Wait, how does it go? Puting ilaw sa dilaw na buwan.
Hi Gwen, I'm Amir from Missology. I just want to know what are your 3 qualities that you think would make you win Miss World Philippines?
I think it's my willpower really to conquer the world and to use that with my advocacy beside me. And of course with Pro Media I feel stronger than ever this year, yes.
And nowadays actually social media plays a very important role. And I just want to know, because Philippines nowadays heard a lot of criticisms and comments. How do you handle criticisms?
That used to be such a huge problem for me, reading all these hate comments on social media. But now that I read those comments, I think it's a stepping stone for me. I take those judgments as a way to better myself, and I don't really mind if people, belittle me or say bad things about me, because not everyone is going to like you. But it's up to you how you want to level up with them, if you want to be above them or below them, and I want to be stronger than that.
I just want to know, how was your experience during the beauty, swimwear, Miss Beauty competition? So just tell us, what was your mind, what was coming through your mind when you were announced as part of the town?
I wasn't expecting it because I think we all did such an amazing job. We did this in the rain, so we walked in the rain with long dresses, and it was such a challenge. But I really, really enjoyed it. It was such a first-time experience for me. And all the hard work that I put into the Beach Beauty Resort really paid off. So I'm very proud of myself and all the girls as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. Je suis Tristan Francisco from the Philippine Pageant team.
Hello po, nice to meet you.
I've heard a lot about you being half Filipina, and that's what you're bringing into the Miss World Philippines 2022 pageant. But I'm very curious personally, and as a pageant media, how would you bring your being half French to the competition? And will there be something different in your being half French in your competition this year compared to last year?
Yes, I believe so, because growing up, I grew up trilingual, so my mom tried to teach me Tagalog, but I'm focused mostly on English and French, so I guess that makes me more open-minded to other cultures, and especially if you win a crown, you compete to another country, so you're able to speak to other people in different languages, and I think that's such a benefit as well.
And as being a Miss World candidate for the Philippines, hoping to be a representative for the Philippines, Miss World is a very apolitical organization, but as a half French and being half European, there's a problem in the Ukraine and Russia issues that we're having with the NATO. How would you bring your being half French in the midst of these issues in Europe, especially with all the things that's going on there now, and also the problems we're having with oil and even the pandemic. So
yes, there's been so many prominent issues, especially now alongside pandemic, which I think is such a bad thing to happen. There's been so many issues, and I believe that as a community together, we have the will and we have the forms of coming and uniting together to wash away that negativity and make sure that we work together, no matter where we come from and no matter which country we come from. So war will always be there, but peace should really overpower that.
it should always be an option. So last question, last follow-up. You have mentioned that you're standing up for free speech. In beauty pageants or even in social media right now, we all have voices. We all speak about our advocacies or the things that we would like to talk about. Don't you think it's already too noisy in social media and in having all these advocacies, and we don't have time to listen and focus on really moving forward?
I think social media is a form of expression. It's a form of free will, of free speech. And it's how you use your voice, either it be negatively or positively, it's up to you. And to the people that will listen to you, at least it's getting out there. And if you're making a difference onto someone's life, I think that's worth it. It's not being just a noise, it's being a voice that wants to be heard.
Thank you.
So much.